Thank you, Mao. And
You're
nice to see you
welcome.
again. And good
Yes.
morning, all the partners. So I'll be talking about Citrix workspace and how we can actually deliver a convenient and secure access to the modern workforce. And as you know, Citrix has been in the market for more than 30 years now, and we really focus on the virtual apps and desktop. So we still maintain that lion's share in that particular area. And we actually spanning out to application delivery and security as well as analytics solution. Yep. So let me. By the way, is my audio okay? And can you see my screen?
Yes. Yes, we can, Narman.
All right. So just to share with you some of the ways now that workspace can help our customers. So one of which is actually to unify work. So at least aggregating all the workspace services and how we could simplify work. So by leveraging machine learning and artificial intelligence, as well as securing how we could deliver those applications and desktop securely to the end user. So that's actually not optional. And of course, last but not the least, it's really important that we have that performance and the quality that we provide when we deliver such applications and desktop and data to the user. So I'll be focusing first on how we unify and aggregate workspace resources. So by sharing the user interface of Citrix Workspace. So as you can see here, we provide a single sign-on capability. So wherein user can type in their username and password, as well as integrate to third-party two-factor authentication like Symantec VIP, Okta, RSA, or even leverage our own 2FA solution, wherein you could leverage Google Authenticator app or Microsoft Authenticator app. S- And then from there, all applications will be available. So when I say all applications, that can be a combination of Excel or typical SaaS web applications or client-based applications, legacy applications that are still available in some of our customers, and as well as the desktop. So desktop will also be available, whether that is residing on-premise or in the cloud like Azure or AWS or GCP. So we're quite agnostic, so we can deliver from any type of cloud and even for private cloud as well. And and we also have that files integration wherein we can integrate the likes of Google Drive, OneDrive, or even internal share that you have in the corporate. So it's more of like having a repository of all repositories that you have so that you don't have to look into several locations now for your data to work on. And then for the Citrix Workspace experience, as you can see here, we could leverage any type of device. So whether that's a corporate device, a company issued one, whether it's personal or even like a public kiosk. So by leveraging Workspace app, which is downloadable from any type of store, no? So Windows Store, Apple Store. So you could download this application. And through Workspace, you could actually get different resource feed or microservice. So whether that's coming from software as a service applications like Workday, Office 365, or coming from mobile applications or Windows or Linux applications, those are will be available to the Workspace, and as well as the content, no, like OneDrive, Box, or Google Drive, or any repository that is available to the customer. And then we also tried to make it simpler for the user to organize everything, at least guide them on what to do on a daily basis, and then automate some stuff by making sure that we have some workflows based on the changes of system and as well as some of the initiated workflow by the user. No, so the idea is to come up with a workspace wherein they don't have to go out of the workspace, and everything will be available within a single portal or platform. So with simplifying the work, so we have what we call the micro app service. So as you can see here, it's more of like a simplified version on how you interact with applications. And typically, the analogy that I use here is a photocopier, no? So just imagine if you go to a photocopier, the only thing that you remember is that big green button, right? So similarly on the application, we wanted to give that green button when on how the users can actually use their application. And typically on a photocopier, there's a lot of buttons, but we don't think on how you could use those multiple buttons. So when we wanted to have like one copy, we press one button, yeah, and then once, no, and then if you want two or three copies, we press it twice or thrice. So with the micro app service, we could simplify it just like in this example. We can integrate with the likes of SAP Concur, wherein we could reimburse and expense. No, so with the details here, we can either approve or send back the request to the employee. So this is just one of the examples that we have on micro app, and with intelligent experience, this would be the look and feel. So we still have that search capability. So it's what we call the virtual assistant. So pretty much anything you can find here. So whether you're looking for data, or you're looking for an employee, or you're looking for a particular application, so you can search here via virtual assistant. And of course, we have that personalized feed. So just imagine this like your typical feed, no, on Facebook or Twitter, but instead of like yeah, personal stuff, you could see here all the things that you have to do, no, as an employee, that will be feeded to you, no. So this will be based on your user profile, on your level, right? And then you could see here all the systems available. Like there are integrations with ServiceNow, SAP Concur. So this is what we call the feeds and micro app. And then as well as commonly used actions. So typically we can integrate with the likes of ServiceNow, Office 365, or even Workday, so that yeah, in terms of like creating ticket, you don't have to go to ServiceNow and create a ticket. So all will be available within the same workspace. And then we also have that those applications and desktops that you recently opened. Now, so files, applications, and desktops will be available on the lower right. And then as well as the micro app, as I mentioned earlier. So instead of like going to Tableau, we could put some, yeah, business intelligence feed, no, right on the Citrix workspace as well. So we have some integrations yeah, typically with most of the top vendors like Workday, ServiceNow, Microsoft, of course, SAP Ariba, Microsoft Teams, SAP Concur. So there's a lot, no. And we've managed to create some use cases. And as Pinoy, we can be more creative, no. But there are some examples I'll be showing you now, like the back to office, HR staff, IT staff, and as well as onboarding new employees. So we have here an example of a micro app wherein you could do a self certify on COVID-19. So if you're okay, and then you could also do some facilities feedback, and then you could also create a micro app wherein you can check if a seat is available or not, especially for those companies who have moved in to a setup wherein there's a flexible work arrangement. So anyone can sit from any workstation, and then they're actually trimming it down, no. So before, when they were actually renting the entire floor, but with the COVID-19, they're starting to actually reduce it, no, in terms of the workstation footprint. And then we also have some sample micro app on how we could actually check, no, the pulse of the employees. So even employee recognition, well-being. So we could create some micro app, and that can be integrated with an application called Citrix Podio, or some similar technology, no, or applications that is available. So just take note that this is just an integration. So micro app is just a small piece of application to simplify how you could interact with the application. But at the back end, we still have to maintain those particular applications like SaaS applications, Office 365 or Workday. So we're not providing the entire system, no. So we're just integrating with those backend systems. And then we could also create some IT self-service, especially for new employees, wherein they could check how to change password, how to work from home. So we can create multiple FAQs and provide them a single location wherein they could check those similar links, no. So at least you could get the tools that you need right within the workspace as well. And then there's another example on HR self-service. So you could do like a request paid time off. So typically you have to do this on workday. So you go to workday, you file for a leave, and there's a lot of clicks now before you could actually submit a PTO. But in reality, the only thing that you have to provide there is actually the start date, end date, and the reason why you're taking a leave. So with micro app, we could create like an initiated workflow for the user. So we can integrate with Workday, create a micro app, and then just provide them the start date, the end date, and the reason why you're taking the leave. And then there's another example on facilities use cases wherein you could book a room, search for available rooms, no, and then at least if you want to request for locker, start a meeting, or even register a visitor if you have one, no. So those sample use cases can be created, and based on the requirements of the customer, we can create multiple micro app or micro app services that will suit, no, to the requirement of the customer. And then as well as onboarding. So yeah, with SAP Ariba, Workday, we can create multiple micro app services as well. And then even for integration with Salesforce, we can create a lead, create an opportunity, or create a contact, no, right within the workspace without going to Salesforce itself, no. So let me just show you how it looks like now. So this is the typical, can you see my screen? So this is a typical workspace with intelligence. As you can see, we could customize the banner. So you can see my face there. So I'm actually logged in to this workspace. And then yeah, you can create some customization around the feed. So since this is my particular feed, these are all the things that I need to do. So it will be on my in the middle, the feed now. So I can see there's a available course for me. So I can click on that and I can see the details. So the instructor, the start date, the end date, and then the facility and location. So I can either register or ignore this now. And that's actually integrated with SAP Success Factor. So if I click on register, so you notice that that particular feed went away now. So meaning I'm done with that particular task. So I can go through each and every task or feed that is available to me. Um, and then there's also information from Power BI or SAP Concur. So this is more of an FYI. Um, and then you could also click on some feedback, no. So you could see here that there's a sample feedback, the region, the title, and you could put your feedback here, and then you can submit. So typically we do this, no, on Workday, but since we have integration with Workday, we could extract that information and just give a window, no. So within the micro app or the feed, I should be able to submit a feedback for that particular employee. And then similarly, on the right, upper right, there's also like a user-initiated workflow. So as I mentioned earlier, I could request a PTO. So I could put a start date, an end date, and then the reason for taking the leave, and then I can submit. So that will be routed to my manager, and it will be approved, and so on and so forth. On the left side, there's an actions. So these are still all the available actions for or micro app services. So if I click on HR facts, I can see all the frequently asked questions like time off and paid leaves. I can see the details. Company holidays, so I can also see the details. And then even IT facts or frequently asked questions. So how to change password, working from home, everything will be available within the workspace, as well as the applications. So all the applications will still be available, and as well as the desktop. And then we can integrate with the likes of Box, Dropbox, Google Drive, OneDrive. So all the repositories in one workspace. So don't be misled, no, with some of the solutions available in the market. So when they say workspace, it's only targeting the mobile devices, or sometimes just a virtual apps and applications. So when we talk about the workspace, it should be flexible for the end user to use the laptop or the desktop or even a mobile phone, no, and the user experience will be the same. So it will be unified. And then all the applications, whether it's SaaS, web applications, or client-based applications will be available, and then as well as all the data and the desktops. No, so that's a complete workspace when we talk about, yeah, workspace. So just make sure that we share that information to our clients. That workspace is a complete solution wherein everything should be available, apps to desktops and to the files. So let me go back to my, hopefully that demo uh, has given you a good picture on how workspace with intelligence can work or help our clients. So from the existing CVAD customers, so most of our clients are still here. They're still using the Citrix storefront. So basically all the published applications are available here. So we could do single sign-on, analytics for security, and then we could transition them to a Citrix workspace wherein we could organize everything, for all the applications, all the desktops and the data. So single sign-on will still be there, access control on how we could secure the applications. And then eventually, so once they're ready, and especially for those customers who have adopted a lot of SaaS applications, and they are trying to move to a more public cloud solution. So there are some clients who have done that, especially for the big banks and some of the telcos in the Philippines. No? So yeah, we can actually position Citrix Workspace with intelligence with integration with micro app service. So moving to the secure work without actually compromising the work now. So most of our solutions, we take into consideration not just the user experience but as well as the security. And sometimes other solutions can break some of the capabilities, right? So if we increase the security, then no one will actually use it. And then if we try to make it more simpler and user friendly, but the security is not there. So we try to strike a balance, between the two, so that we could give the customers or the end users the flexibility or the simplest way to do things, as well as making it secure. No? So this one is a particular feature, what we call the app protection. So when you go to the Citrix workspace, you can type your username and password. But as you can see here, there's a simple or lagging application here wherein I cannot get the right information. So it's actually scrambled. Even the token will be scrambled. So this is good for those who have implemented bring your own device, or anyone can use a personal device. So even if a bad actor can install like a lagging tool, there's no way for them to capture the username and the credentials. No? So another capability that is included as part of the app protection is what we call the anti-screen scraping. So if you open a document and these are critical information that is that has like intellectual property. So if I use a snipping tool or print screen, so there's no way for me to capture that particular information. This is also applicable for the bad actor as well. So sometimes they're not just installing the key lagging software, but as well as software wherein it can do like screen scraping. So every time they will record or screen capture the things that you're doing, especially if you're working from home. So at least from there, they could analyze, they could understand, they can follow how are you actually working, and then there are some pertinent information that can be captured as well. And it's too late. Everything is available for the bad actor. Then they can hack or access the corporate network or even your personal information. So this one can help prevent the bad actor from getting those information. So this is what we call the app protection capability. So with the workspace, we also have a solution that can cater for both the sanction applications and the unsanctioned applications. So when we say sanctioned applications, these are the defined applications or approved applications from the company. So, and then the unsanctioned apps are the typical personal applications or personal web that the employee access, especially if they're using a personally owned device. So potentially, if they're mixing the personal stuff together with the work stuff, so there's actually a good probability wherein it can also infect the corporate network. So especially for those who are doing VPN. So typically when they're using VPN, uh, they only allow VPN access to those employees who have company issued device. So they haven't provided anything or none, especially for those employees who are using their personal device to do VPN. So with our solution, regardless, so whether you're using a personally owned device or your computer at home, or if it's company issued, because of the secure workspace access that is available and as well as the secure internet access, that can support both the sanctioned application and the unsanctioned apps, you will be protected, no, compared to other remoting technology available. So with secure workspace access, so we could have a good target here, especially for those companies who have been doing VPN. No? So if you imagine doing VPN, you have to set up appliances, you have to install it on the data center, right? And then you have to put some certificate, install it on a device, making sure that device is actually approved by the company before you allow it. But there are some cases, no, wherein some of the companies have adopted a pure web or SaaS application. So with secure workspace access, we could do a VPN-less access to those web applications hosted on premise, as well as those software as a service applications like Workday, Office 365. So we could do single sign-on and making sure that all are available within the same workspace. So that's the idea. And with secure workspace access, we could actually leverage a secure browser here, wherein we could turn on um, some security. So if the enhanced security is actually turned off, let me. So it can go to an open, you can actually open it in standard browser. So when we apply certain policies via secure workspace access, especially for those leveraging software as a service, no, we could do some sort of like watermarking. So as you can see here, there's some watermarking here. So we could put like information like username, IP address, no. So this will be used as a deterrent, no, so that the employee or the user will think twice before he take a picture of the screen, no. So with the policy, we can either allow it or deny the access or redirect it to a secure browser. So if you feel it's really secure, then we allow that access. And then if it's a website wherein we restrict it or we don't allow it, we can actually block it. And then if it's like personal or let's say Facebook or whatever, like Hotmail or Yahoo, we could redirect them to a secure browser service so that this is isolated. So when they go to these particular sites, no, since this is isolated, it won't affect the company environment, corporate network. So let me just share you how it looks like. No, nako, let's close this. Yep, there. So this is the typical Citrix workspace with intelligence. So your home, all the actions, all the applications are available here. All the desktops from Australia, yeah, America, APJ, and all the data. So if I go to my apps, so there's an option here to see all my SaaS applications. So whether it's Office 365, Google Drive, Google Mail, and then I also have here a Salesforce application. So if I click on Salesforce, I should be able to authenticate right away, no, with a single sign-on. And from here, I should be able to use that particular app. So let's just wait for it because my internet is quite slow. So yeah, so as you can see here, I'm logged in, the date, and then there's no restriction or whatsoever here. So I can select some information here. I can right click and copy. So there's also an option for me to print it, right? So pretty much I can navigate away also from this site, right? So there's no restriction for that particular SaaS. But with the secure protection on, with the secure workspace access capability, with the same application, salesforce.com, so you would notice some differences, no, with the previous one. So once I'm connected, you can see here that it's actually running on a secure browser. Um, and then there's a watermark. So there's my name. And then if I try to do the same thing no, earlier, so if I try to select some information here, right click on it, I cannot right click anymore. So right click, there's no option. So even if I go here, there's no way for me to copy, paste, or cut information. And even to actually, navigate away. So this is not the right SFDC site, no. So unlike earlier, you could see the actual SFDC site available to the user. So there's also watermarking, so you could put it in the middle, upper right, upper left, lower left. So it's up to the customer. So that's how Citrix Workspace Access work. Let me go back to my slide. Okay. So as you can see here, we've been adapting the SASE. No? So right now we model it to the Gartner approach, wherein we provide secure internet access. So within that secure internet access, you will get secure web gateway, firewall, CASB solution, malware protection, DLP sandbox. So everything will be a part of the Citrix secure internet access. And then for the zero trust network access, I'm sure you've seen a lot of similar solution that will be part of the secure workspace access. So our unique differentiator would be the remote browser isolation, which I showed earlier. No? And then, of course, we have the analytics for end user, entity behavior analytics, as well as the SD1 for the edges, for the branches. So this will be the complete SASE solution for Citrix. And of course, we still have that Citrix endpoint management that can work side by side with the workspace solution. So you can enroll device, create a policy, you can secure the internet access, you can provide single sign-on. All the web applications or mobile applications will be available, and you can still maintain that conditional access. So whether you're using a personal device, then you only see certain applications or restricted application. But if you're using a company-owned device, then everything will be available. Once that device is authenticated, their certificate, it's allowed, then everything will be available. So you could do a conditional access as well. And then this is quite becoming popular today. So I'm sure you've heard, I'm looking for user entity behavior analytics. So especially today that we 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 tried to make sure that all the remote users can access applications securely. Before we just turn on VPN, we just turn on CVAD. No, during I think second quarter of last year, March, late first quarter to second quarter of last year. So there's actually a hype on getting more VPN licenses, getting more Citrix licenses to enable work from home. But we forgot to actually secure those connections. With user entity behavior analytics, we should be able to identify the risk, no, the potential risk for the company, especially for the users who's actually just trying to work no, from their home. No. So this is an example of the security analytics. So as you can see here, there's a red, yellow, green. No? And then we can see the top high risk users. And then we can drill down. So in this example, Maria Smith is actually one of those high risk users now within the organization. So I can drill down. I can see the activities, no, the history. So from 7:03 a.m. So that user use a rooted or jailbroken device. So the risk score actually increased no, by 10 points. And then same user log into a different location. So if you're logging from, let's say, Makati, and then all of a sudden you log in from Quezon City or maybe from another country, so you'll get like a 15 points no, additional for the risk. And then there's also some unusual download volume. So with the policy, you could actually cap or trim it down. No? So if you see unusual download, you can cap it to 5 MB. And then you could start recording the session. So this is also a unique capability of Citrix wherein we could record the session of the user so that we can audit and investigate later on. And then there's a lot of activities as well until such a point that that user reached a 94 point no. And then the company or the admin decided to quarantine that user. So this will be useful for the yeah, for the companies who are trying to make sure that all the users working from home are secure, and then abiding to all the security policies of the company. And then in terms of the performance, of course, we still leverage that high definition experience. For those who are familiar with HDX, especially for our partners, no, I'm sure you've heard of ICA. So that's the previous protocol. So we just rename it to high definition experience protocol. But this is still the same protocol, or the superior protocol that is better than RDP, or remote desktop protocol, or PC over IP protocol. So some are using HTML5, but the experience isn't there, and some of the capabilities are not available. We can still use RDP or even HTML5, but the best protocol would still be the HDX or the ICA protocol, so that we could deliver those multimedia applications and unified communication application, especially for AutoCAD application. That will be useful. And then, yeah, I mentioned this earlier, so we could do single sign-on, a VPN-less access to all the SaaS and web application. And then we support all platforms, so whether it's yeah, tablet, laptop, desktop. And then we could stream audio and video with an optimal performance. So single authentication, everything will be available. So we could integrate easily with Microsoft Teams with our high definition experience protocol. And then we also have an analytics that is related to performance, so that we could see the experience score of every employee. So the time they log in, how long it took for them to log in, and then the performance, whether they're happy or not with the access of the applications and data. So as you can see here, I'm getting to the end of my presentation. It's a complete stack. So workspace technology um, is actually a complete solution wherein you could get that intelligence capability that I've been sharing earlier. No, and then we still have that apps and desktops. Although this can be sold no a la carte, and then we also have the secure access to SaaS and web via secure workspace access. So we also have the content collaboration as part of the yeah, share file no before, and then unified endpoint management for mobile device and application management, as well as all the monitoring and analytics available for workspace technology stack. So the idea here is to have a roadmap for the client. Maybe they only need virtual apps and desktop right now, but we have to paint the picture no in terms of roadmap on how they would access their SaaS and web application, as well as going to that nirvana or dynamic stage, having an intelligent workspace so that it'll be easier and yeah, less complex for the user to navigate through all the applications. And then if you take a look at the analytics, we have the performance, security, and productivity analytics. So again, we leverage AI, or artificial intelligence, and machine learning so that we could identify what the users are doing. So the information will be coming from either the virtual apps and desktop, endpoint management, content collaboration, and app delivery and security. So app delivery security, this is our ADC and SD-WAN solution. And then, yeah, looking at the platforms, as you can see here, it's actually a value on investment. So all from a single solution. So you don't have to invest on multiple technologies. Like for UEM, there's a lot of solutions available. File seek and share, there's also a lot of solutions. Similarly to ADC, single sign-on, virtual apps and desktop solution, as well as intelligent or micro app integration. So if you combine all the investment, so I normally share this with the client and they love the idea. So instead of like getting, yeah, maybe VMware Workspace ONE for the UEM, and then getting their virtual app application and desktop from Citrix, or maybe WVD from Microsoft, or AWS Workspace, no. And then they also have an Okta, and then ADC from F5. So all of this will be available as part of the platform no, that we offer. So within the workspace, as well as the application delivery and security, especially for those customers who are trying to move into a more dynamic, leveraging the micro app or the micro app intelligence no, feed that I have shared earlier. So in terms of the investment, there would be value really no Instead of getting point solutions, why not get the entire platform and get rid of some of the technologies available, no? So displace them. So I think that's the right term, no? So we're here. We're actually here to support you, especially with VST ECS. So just let us know when we can, yeah, set a call with the customer. We're we will be very willing, no, to help you with the presentation as well as identifying the right opportunity and strategy, no, moving forward. So I think that's my last slide. So any question?